I really want to focus on the security improvements. Been a few attacks over the recent years, and that's the last thing agents want is to be holding on to a customer's credit card info and having to explain to an insured that it was part of a breach.
Welcome to the Leader's Edge podcast. I'm Sandy Laycox, Editor-in-Chief of Leader's Edge. In this episode, sponsored by First Insurance Funding, I talk with Nolan Steenberg, Vice President of Business Solutions at First Insurance Funding. Our conversation is all about payment processing system integration within agencies. To start, Nolan gives us an overview of the current state of automation and the benefits to investing in this type of integration. Then we get into the different options for different sized agencies.
My take is that the insurance brokers out there are, over the last several years, are really embracing the change and adopting, sophisticated, mature payment processors into their workflows. It's been a long time coming and, probably behind, other retail industries, which follows the general change management of commercial insurance brokers. But the overwhelming positives for, workflow enhancements, efficiencies, and huge improvements on security, I think those overwhelming benefits really have pushed agents to embrace that change and adopt payment processors into their workflows. That and just the huge improvements in functionality that sophisticated payment processors out there in the market today can offer for agencies. Huge benefits to user experience. Checkout workflows for paying for premiums and other miscellaneous invoices, as well as the security that we all take for granted when you buy things online today.
It sounds like there's definitely some movement and you've definitely seen adoption of different systems. How would you describe the situation in terms of agency size? So for a well-resourced large agency versus a smaller or even middle market one, are they tracking similarly?
In some ways, yes. I think payment processors, by their nature, scale very well so that they can be offered to, mid-sized, even small agencies. Like anybody these days can process a payment and do it securely through a proper service. Definitely, when you get into your mid-sized and larger agencies, there's more tailored services that they require, and more enterprise plans from the larger payment processors that they'll adopt rather than the out of the box solutions that your smaller brokers might go for.
We then discuss what is missing from the current state of integration and what the barriers to full success are.
So there have been huge improvements lately, especially within embedded premium finance and payment processors. I want to highlight that there's been, several big market players in payment processing that have added premium finance into their workflows, which is huge. One of the things we've heard from, lots of, medium and large agencies is they continue to want to consolidate their workflows for payments into a single platform or website so they can send their customers that they need to make payments. Here's one simple instruction. If you ever need to make payment, go here. Whereas a few years ago it was 12 different places. Maybe now it's down to 3 or 4, but there's still room for agencies to consolidate that. So embedded premium finance has enabled a lot of things for agencies. And to clarify, that's at checkout, offering a premium finance option along with a pay in full option automatically for your insured. So that's opened a lot of doors for agencies to grow their premium finance portfolio and find opportunities for financing where they potentially didn't exist previously. Historically, agents offer premium finance on deals that they think they know clients want premium financing on. So they miss all the opportunities where they're not offering premium finance and they don't know that the client may want it. So bypassing that agent's, internal bias and getting directly to the customer for those premium finance opportunities have been great for agents, giving their customers, another option to pay for their premiums.
And do you see that they're finding a lot of instances where there's take up where they didn't realize there would have been?
Absolutely. I would say the industry estimate for that would be about 30% growth in premium finance.
Wow.
If you're offering premium finance in a seamless user experience checkout for every single eligible policy, the net growth in that agency's portfolio for premium finance would be around 30%.
Great. So what about for agencies that haven't been able to do this? What do you see as the barriers to success here? What are they struggling with?
The biggest barrier for an agency to adopt a payment processor and put it into their workflows is, the agency's change management. The thing you'll hear the most for an agency that is very reluctant to embrace this is, well, we have an existing historical process that is all well and good, and sure, there may be, things you lose by adopting a new process, but we're I believe there's such substantial gains that it's typically worth it. Something I also wanted to mention is I really want to focus on the security improvements that these payment processors bring along. Um, Historically, I've got anecdotal stories of agents, writing down bank account numbers and credit card numbers to later key in as payments in, various systems. And working with a established payment processor, they kind of teach you the things you already probably should know about how those are, non-PCI compliant processes and get you on a path to, reducing that risk for both like the agency and their insureds.
That's a great point about the security, and we do find that, agencies are targets for
Mhm.
cybersecurity and given the amount of data that they have in their systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a few attacks over the recent years, and that's the last thing agents want is to be holding on to a customer's credit card info and having to explain to an insured that it was part of a breach.
Digging more into potential barriers, we discuss the financial concerns for agencies balancing bottom lines with digitization.
There's cost models there's lots of market players, so there's great competition, meaning reasonable cost structures with different players, offering, different functionality and different costs associated with that. Without getting into individual companies, lots of companies offer different subscription plans to enable payment processing and, lower cost versions for, less features and functionality. So I wouldn't say actually that cost is a prohibitive barrier. A lot of that is passed on to the insured through transaction fees, which are, industry standard.
Finally, we consider what the ideal state of integration would look like.
We've made tons of improvements, we as the industry, but there's still tons of room to go. I mentioned earlier consolidated payments all through, one platform. There's lots of, business and technological constraints to that, but there's opportunity there. On the other side, there's also plenty of room in payment processing in general for, fraud detection through AI and machine learning to reduce fraud, credit card disputes, etc., that not only plague the insurance industry, but all industries through, online credit card payments. The other thing that I think is amazing for the future is back-end reconciliation and really connecting all the payment activity into a consolidated view for both the agency, the insurance company, the premium finance company, and the insured. Connecting all those dots together for, direct bill payments, premium finance payments, payables to carriers, return premium back. There's a ton of activity from many different partners there, and capturing that workflow of funds back and forth is another huge opportunity in the payment processing space that I'm excited for. Not necessarily processing payments through Bitcoin.
That was Nolan Steenberg, Vice President of Business Solutions at First Insurance Funding. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. For more podcasts, go to leadersedge.com.